Yo, what's good, everybody? Today we're starting a brand new series. We're going to be taking certain pool 3 cards and building a deck entirely out of pool 1 and pool 2 cards for them, so that if you get these cards early on, or if they were your first pool 3 cards, then it'll make it easier to help you build a competitive deck using cards that you definitely have to go alongside that pool 3 card. And the first card that we're talking about today is gonna be Daredevil, and I love Daredevil. This card is so incredible, and I'm gonna show you right now how you can be competitive in pool 3 immediately if you add Daredevil to your deck. On turn 5, Daredevil allows you to see exactly what your opponent is going to do before you have to act. So if you look down below, we have 11 great pool 1 and 2 cards that work out amazingly well with Daredevil. We are going to use a really sick control and disruption deck in order to ruin your opponent's night. And there are 2 key combinations with Daredevil that we're going to talk about, and the number 1 is Professor X. If you can see exactly what your opponent is playing on turn 5, then you can go ahead, drop Professor X in another lane that's gonna lock that up for you, get a free location win, and then all you have to do on turn 6 is win that second location. The Daredevil Professor X combination is mind-blowing. It literally takes Professor X from being a sort of B tier card, a really good one if you get lucky enough to get him off, to an S tier immediately, because he just basically can win you a game right there on turn 5. And the second perfect combo card with Daredevil is Gamora. You see where your opponent is playing his card? Well, you drop Gamora on that location, she gets +5 power. That's an automatic 12 power card. Gamora and Professor X are absolutely perfect for Daredevil. The other cards we have are going to be standard control and disruption cards. We got Iceman for 1 cost. You got Korg for 1 cost because he's going to shuffle that rock directly into your opponent's deck. We got Scorpion, who does a ton of work on that second turn if you don't pull off Daredevil, or you could even throw him out there on the 3rd turn. Your opponent's likely to have a lot of strong cards in his hand at the time, and Scorpion is going to help mitigate that damage. And of course, we gotta include Storm, who's gonna close down a location for you, and you're gonna go ahead and drop Jessica Jones on turn 4, take over that location as she gains that 4 extra power right before you're gonna put Professor X down on turn 5. Then your opponent's gonna have no choice but to lose. And we have Shang-Chi, who's going to probably be your last turn play a lot of times. He's gonna go ahead, kill your opponent's best card, the one that gave them hope that they could still win. Or Enchantress, who's gonna shut down a lot of those devil dinos that you're still gonna see a little bit of. And she's gonna stop Wong, that you're gonna see a ton of. Enchantress is gonna stop them dead in their tracks. And the last control card is Hobgoblin. We already have Professor X and Gamora. We know that those are the perfect cards to play with Daredevil, and you're usually gonna pull one or the other, but we kept Hobgoblin in here because he's an amazing control card, and he does work really well with Daredevil as well. Can you take Hobgoblin out of this deck? Absolutely. Scarlet Witch works perfectly fine in that situation, or maybe even Killmonger. I like to kind of avoid using Killmonger in this deck because we have Iceman and Korg. Yeah, they don't bring a lot of power, but that extra 2 power at those locations may very well end up winning you one of them. We don't have a ton of big time power drops in this deck. We've got a lot of little guys that are doing their part and basically taking away damage from your opponent. And the last official card in the deck is America Chavez. She's gonna be there to basically provide you with 9 power on the last turn if you need it. though I have a feeling you're going to be using a lot more Shang-Chi's and Enchantresses on turn 6. She also kind of makes it an 11 card deck. You know, she doesn't get drawn until turn 6, so you're going to be able to draw your better cards that you want to work with Daredevil a little faster. Now let's mention some really cool pool 3 upgrades that are going to take this deck to the next level. As you go through pool 3, of course, you're going to pull some more really cool control and disruption cards, and you're going to want to add them to the deck. So I wanted to feature some upgrades that could potentially come your way in the near future. And one of them is going to be Spider-Man. When Spider-Man is played, your opponent won't be able to play cards at that location on the next turn. I don't have Spider-Man, so I'm really dying to get him, but he is the perfect addition to this Daredevil deck. He's going to really help as a turn 5 play where you could block your opponent's turn 6 move. Then you got Black Widow, who's going to shuffle a Widow's Bite into your opponent's deck. They can't draw cards unless they discard that. That's another play I like making on turn 5 if I can. A lot of times I got to do it earlier because you got Professor X and Gamora that you want to play, but Black Widow is an incredible turn 5 play to prevent them from drawing their last card on turn 6 if they really were looking for a specific card in their deck. Another really good one is Polaris, who's going to move the opposing cards around. I like to really play around with Polaris, especially if Fist Tower is on the board. She's a really nice card with 5 power and 3 cost. In the same vein, you got Arrow. Usually people like playing her on turn 6 where she moves all enemy cards played, which is exactly the same role that Magneto has, who's gonna move 3 and 4 cost cards to that location. He might take some cards from other lanes, plop them right into his, and allow you to win those first 2 locations, or maybe his 12 power is enough to take over that lane that he brings them into. And the last really cool disruption card that'll be good for this deck is gonna be Rogue. We have Enchantress in there to stop an ongoing ability from your opponent. Well, Rogue goes ahead and steals that ongoing ability away and allows you to use it. So if your opponent has Wong out there and you break out Rogue, she steals that away from him and preventing your opponent from winning. But now that we've gone over how you can make Daredevil work for you immediately, coming from pool 1 and pool 2, now let's go take it into gameplay and show off how it works in pool 3. And we don't quite have Daredevil yet, and we're hoping that we can draw him on this turn. And we got the raft in the middle, and the raft is interesting because we also have the big house on the left. So we gotta make a decision over here. I think we're gonna drop Scorpion on the raft, which he didn't play anything, which is interesting. They shuffled 5 rocks into our deck, which hurts, but maybe with the raft it'll be okay. We're gonna go ahead and Storm on the left. Storm is gonna take the big house out. He's got Lockjaw, so that is going to hurt us, especially with all those rocks that he's probably gonna be playing a lot of. We're gonna go ahead, we're gonna use Enchantress to just kind of lock up the flooded location because he probably won't have too much power, hopefully. And that screwed up our plans right there. He's got Thor and White Tiger, and we are going to lose the first location. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna lock up Subterranea with Professor X because we screwed up on the flooded location. I mean, we didn't necessarily screw up, but we got unlucky. Here it comes, Jubilee. He's gonna break out Odin, which is going to set off White Tiger again and put it right in the flooded location, which is fine with us, depending on what he put in Subterranea. And he put Mjolnir in Subterranea, and then we gotta go ahead and put Professor X there. Professor X is locking up that 3rd location, and America Chavez is gonna win us the game. And just like that, we didn't end up pulling Daredevil, but we are gonna end up winning this game. I don't really want to snap because I'm afraid he's gonna leave, and he left anyway, but You can see Professor X locked up Subterranea for us. We knew he could do that. Now let's take it into action one more time, and let's hope that this time we actually draw Daredevil, because I know that's what you want to see. We're playing Iceman right away, second location. We can't play him on the first, but hopefully we screwed up our opponent's plans, and look at that. It ends up working out because we're trying to win Asgard so that we can draw maybe Professor X on turn 4 with some extra cards. But we did get Daredevil, and this should be enough for us to pull out the win. And look at this. We got to play Korg at Asgard again. We got to play at Asgard again because we can't play Korg in either of the other locations, and we don't want to miss out on a turn to possibly just get these out there. So we threw Korg in there, and he stormed so that we couldn't draw any cards. That was smart of him. We're actually just going to go ahead, drop Enchantress at this flooded location to just tie up the location. Oh, he had Killmonger. I was wrong. So we do end up winning the flooded location, which is enormous. And we get to see what his next play is. Unfortunately, Jessica Jones came out on the next turn. We would have been better off being able to use her on that last one. But let's see what Daredevil sees so that we know exactly what we should be playing. And there it is. He's got Hobgoblin coming out. We don't have another choice, but we got to eat that Hobgoblin because we don't have enough cards to play a Crimson Cosmos, which is pretty much impossible for us to do anyway. What we're going to go ahead and do is actually screw up his plans a little bit, and we're going to play Gamora right here because Gamora is going to gain 12 power. We're going to have 4 on Crimson Cosmos. So that means that he's got to split his power on the last turn among both Hellfire Club and Crimson Cosmos. So we're going to put Gamora there. It's going to be really hard for him to pull that off, but Gamora is going to get just enough power so that he's going to have to spread himself a little thin, and we're going to figure out exactly what to do on the last turn. And on the we were gonna play Hobgoblin. So you saw it work out right there. You saw how playing Gamora on that location, even though we knew Hobgoblin was coming, we could have instead played our own Hobgoblin at that location or in location 1 and just screwed up his plans. Because what people are doing on that 5th turn is they think they're going to win that location by dropping Hobgoblin in there. You're going to be at -8 power. You're not going to be able to overcome that. So all you're going to do is play things on the other location to try and make up for the loss. And then he's going to drop a big card on that last location. So if I have any type of power on the right side, that means he can't just drop his big card on the last turn. He's gonna have to play multiple cards at multiple locations to win both of them, and also not know if I'm just gonna stack power on Crimson Cosmos. And that's the power of Daredevil right there. We would not have been able to play Gamora on that location. I personally would have been guessing that he was gonna play at Hellfire Club and not Crimson Cosmos. So that's our Daredevil deck that's going to get you started on being competitive right away with just pool 1 and pool 2 cards, along with, of course, upgrades in pool 3. We're going to make this a series, so let me know in the comments section below what cards you'd like to see me make decks on using a lot of early pool cards. If you enjoyed the content, please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. It helps out immensely. I really appreciate you guys watching. Have a great rest of your day.